Imagine you've just won the World Cup. Harry Kane lifts the trophy, 66,000 fans losing their minds. The whole country stops. It's the moment English football has been waiting for since 1966. FIFA hands England a cheque for $50 million. And then, before it even clears, a portion of it disappears. Not to the FA, not to the players, and not to grassroots football back home. To the American government. And here's the part that will make your blood boil. FIFA knew this was going to happen. They just didn't do anything about it. This is the story of the most financially broken World Cup in history, and England are right in the middle of it. On the surface, the 2026 World Cup looks like the greatest tournament ever staged. 48 teams, 104 matches, 3 countries in 16 cities, and a prize pot of $655 million, 50% bigger than Qatar 2022. FIFA's president, Gianni Infantino, stood next to Donald Trump in Washington and called it groundbreaking. The most lucrative World Cup in history. A celebration of football like the world had never seen before. And if you just read the headlines, you'd believe him. England go into this tournament with genuine hope. A young squad, a world-class striker, and a real chance. And waiting for them at the end of it, if they go all the way, is a $50 million prize. The biggest winner's check in the World Cup history. Except, the number FIFA announced isn't quite what it seems. Because nobody told you about the bill that comes with it. Here's something FIFA didn't put in the press release. The 2026 World Cup is being hosted across 3 countries: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Canada granted full tax exemptions to every competing nation. Mexico did the same. Every team playing matches on those soils keeps every penny FIFA pays them. But the United States didn't. Under US tax law, any foreign entity earning income on American soil is subject to IRS taxation. And that includes prize money won at a World Cup being held in American stadiums. FIFA has enjoyed tax-free status in the United States since 1994, a privilege baked into their hosting agreements for decades. They protect themselves. They always have. But that protection, it doesn't extend to the 48 nations actually competing. And the fix was simple. A blanket tax exemption. The kind Canada and Mexico handed over without argument. That would have solved this overnight. FIFA asked for it. The Trump administration said no. So now, 30 of the 48 competing nations face paying US taxes on their World Cup earnings. Countries like Brazil, Argentina, Nigeria, and Senegal. Nations where the prize money doesn't just fund the team, it funds youth academies, grassroots programs, and their entire infrastructure of football. Taken before it even gets home. Now here's the part where it gets complicated, and where England fans need to pay close attention. England have a tax treaty with the United States. A bilateral agreement that means the FA won't face the same direct tax hit that Brazil or Argentina will. On paper, England are protected. But that's not the full story. Because England aren't competing in isolation. They're competing in a tournament where the financial rules are already broken. And that broken system hits England in ways that aren't immediately obvious. Think about it this way. The daily allowance FIFA pays to each nation's delegation for hotels, food, travel, and staffing has been cut from $850 per person in Qatar to just $600 per person in 2026. On a squad of 26 players plus staff across a potential 7 weeks, that's potentially $500,000 less per team before a ball is even kicked. The preparation fund, the money FIFA gives every nation just to show up, in 2022 was $1.5 million. In 2026, it's unchanged, despite the fact that playing in the United States costs significantly more than Qatar. Hotel rates in New York, Los Angeles, and Dallas, they aren't Qatar prices. They aren't even close. And Mbappe and France, the stars of one of England's most likely rivals, they're facing double taxation on their personal earnings. Their federation may have to cover the difference. Money that would otherwise go into the squad, the preparation, and the coaching staff. Every pound your rivals bleed before the tournament starts is a competitive advantage England face on the pitch. This isn't just a finance story, it's a football story. Let's talk about FIFA for a moment, because their role in this is extraordinary. The 2026 World Cup will generate approximately $11 billion in revenue. $11 billion from TV rights, sponsorship, ticketing, and hospitality. The full machine. FIFA themselves pay zero tax on it. Not a single penny. That tax-free status, negotiated and protected for over 30 years, applies to FIFA and FIFA alone. The prize pool they've allocated for the 48 competing nations is $655 million. Just under 6% of total revenue going back to the teams who actually play the tournament. 6%. And from that 6%, already a fraction of what FIFA keeps, 30 nations now face losing a portion to US tax authorities. FIFA knew this was coming. The Guardian reported that FIFA was aware of the tax situation and described themselves as working behind the scenes to provide guidance and support. Guidance and support. Not solutions, not exemptions. Just guidance. Meanwhile, Infantino was in Washington, smiling next to Trump, accepting a FIFA Peace Prize, an award FIFA invented specifically to flatter the US president, while the teams competing in his tournament were quietly being told to sort their own tax bill out. FIFA protects FIFA. It always has. And this World Cup has made that clearer than ever before. What this has created, for the first time in World Cup history, is a two-tier tournament. Tier 1. Nations with US tax treaties. England, France, Germany, Australia. The established football powers, mostly, protected by decades of diplomatic agreements. Tier 2. Everyone else. Brazil, Argentina, Senegal, Cape Verde, Curacao, competing in their first ever World Cup. They're facing a US federal corporate tax rate of 21% and top income tax rates of 37% on earnings that their entire future depends on. In Qatar, every single team was exempt. Every one. The host government guaranteed it as part of the bid. In 2026, Canada did it. Mexico did it. The United States, hosting 60 of 104 matches, including every knockout game from the quarterfinals onwards, didn't. The biggest matches, the biggest prize money, the biggest tax bill. And the teams who can least afford it are the ones paying. So, are England being robbed? Directly, not in the way that Brazil and Argentina are. England's treaty protects the FA from the worst of it. But here's what I want you to sit with. England are about to compete in a World Cup where FIFA will pocket $11 billion and hand 6% back to the teams, where the daily allowances have already been cut, where rivals are financially compromised before they've even landed, where a first time World Cup nation like Curacao will lose money they desperately need to the US Treasury, while FIFA watches from their tax free perch in Zurich and calls it groundbreaking. The game is being played, but not everyone's playing by the same rules. And there's another layer to this story that we haven't even touched yet. What the Trump tax situation means for the individual players, the sponsorship deals, and the image rights. That's a whole separate video, and we'll get into it. But for now, England go into this World Cup in better shape than most. But the system surrounding them, it's rotten. If this opened your eyes to what's actually going on behind the biggest tournament in history, give it a like. It genuinely helps more people find the channel. Subscribe to Sports Cash Files. This is exactly what we do here. Every week, money in sport with no filter. And drop it in the comments. Do you think FIFA will actually fix this? Or is this just how it works now? See you in the next episode.